All right guys, I'm here with Mohammed Deef, and today we're going to be going through 5 bullshit techniques that actually work. When we talk about bullshit techniques, we're talking about techniques that break the rules of jiu-jitsu. In jiu-jitsu, obviously there's basic rules and we all follow them, but sometimes you can try something or do something that seems like it would not work, but is actually highly effective. Today we're going to go through 5 things that are highly effective, but should not work.
Everything that I built, made that from zero, then added this.
Okay guys, so first technique that we're going to start off with is the Keller Crush. Here at Grappling Education, we call it mother's milk. And we call it that because you literally try to milk your opponent, okay? So we're gonna go through it now. I'm here with Moe, and Moe's gonna taste some of my milk. So let's go through this. Okay, so the basics of Keller Crush. When I'm doing a Keller Crush, we call it a Keller Crush because I'm in the Kesa Gatami position, or the scarf hold. And my goal with this submission is I'm trying to block Mohammed's airways completely. So with a normal submission, like when we're doing any other choke, I'm looking at cutting off blood to his neck. With a Kesa, I'm looking at cutting off the airways. There's 2 ways that I can do this. One is I can look at closing the trachea. An easy way for me to close the trachea, there's actually 3 ways. So there's 3 ways that I can do this. I can look at closing the trachea, so I can close the trachea a little bit by rolling Mohammed's head forward. The second thing that I can do is I can stop his lungs from expanding by lying on top of his lungs and putting pressure on it. And the third thing that I can do is that I can physically block his airway. So you might see sometimes in ADCC matches where people are using, or EBI matches where people are using their hands to cover the face. With a Keller Crush, we're not going to use our hands. We can actually use our body to block the airways. So to start with, first thing I want to do is I want to imagine what the lungs look like. They're like 2 balloons inside Mohammed's chest. If I want to crush those balloons, the easiest thing that I can do is bend Mohammed's chest around my hand. In this case, I'll be bending it around my body. So I'm going to lie on top of Mohammed. As I lie on top of him, the side of my body is going to lie on top of his chest, and I'm going to try and get all of my weight on top of his chest. You'll notice my ass is off the floor. If I drop my butt to the floor, I waste all of my weight and it sits on the floor. So I'm lying on top of Mohammed. The second I do this, it becomes difficult for him to breathe. Second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scarf hold grip, but as I take the grip, I'm looking to get my elbow directly underneath his head. The further it is underneath his head, it then means that it's easier for me to lift his head up in this position and therefore close his windpipe. So arm comes around the body. I look to close the windpipe. Final thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my chest over his face in this position as well. It makes it even harder for him to breathe. Now I'm going to scoop up the arm. As I scoop up the arm, you'll notice I lift everything off the ground. There's no weight on top of Mo at the moment. I place my weight on top of his chest, and now I lift and drive everything into that position. I can wait in this position as long as I want. As soon as I wait here, it's really hard for Mo to breathe. He's going to tap after a while. This submission is actually highly effective. It's especially effective towards the end of the round. You do have to remember that you are physically suffocating your opponent, so they can hold their breath, but when somebody's breathing heavy, that's about 5 or 6 seconds. Like, you can't hold it for very long at all. So that's the Keller Crush. Next technique, highly effective submission from close guard. I've never seen this used before, so right now I'm calling it the Keller Crush. We're gonna go through it. It's really easy to catch opponents off guard with this. I still haven't met anybody that uses this technique. So, when I get my opponent in close guard and I look to lock up a body triangle, if I lock up a body triangle and my calf sits on the back of Mo's spine, it actually doesn't matter how hard I squeeze. I can squeeze as much as I want. He can always use his abs to act against my legs. I can maybe put a little bit of pressure on him. The truth is I'm just going to blow myself out in this position. It doesn't really do anything to him. If I can squeeze on Mo's actual side on his ribs like this and put pressure on it, I get to a point where it doesn't matter how much Mo defends, his ribs are going to break. So, from close guard, instead of having my calf on his back, I need to find a way to get my calf on his rib cage. So what I'm going to do is almost like I'm going for an armbar, but I'm going to keep my legs closed. I'm gonna take a underhook underneath Mo's legs. I'm gonna shoot my arm underneath his leg. As I shoot my arm underneath his leg, I come to like this same position as though I was gonna go for an armbar. So I bring my knee to the floor, open up my legs, and now I'm gonna lock my legs back together. As I lock them back together, I lock a body triangle. From here, I'm now gonna take my left arm, come over the top of Mo's head, and lock my hands together in an S grip. Now, as I get to this S grip position, I'm just gonna bring my elbows together and I squeeze my legs. It's a super powerful submission. I can just be in a closed guard position. I shoot for an underhook underneath the leg. I switch my hips. I'm gonna lock my legs together. As I lock them together, I now grab my hands together in an S grip. I squeeze tight with my hands and just squeeze my legs. Very easy to finish from this position. Okay guys, so next position that we're going to work on is an attack from bottom side control, or basically when somebody's looking to pass your guard. In general, I would never pull bottom side control, but sometimes when somebody has passed your guard, this is a really good opportunity as a last stitch attack to attack back from bottom side control. Let's say I'm lying on my back and Muhammad's passed my guard, so he's got past my legs, and I feel like there's no way that I'm going to be able to stop him from shutting down my hips. So I've got this point, I cannot re-guard. What I'm gonna do in this situation is counterintuitive. It looks like I'm giving up my back, but actually I'm not. So I'm gonna post on my right arm. As I post on my right arm, I'm shooting this bottom hand out across my body as far as it will go. It's really important that when I get to this position, I'm super aware of the fact that Mo can take what is called like the Dagestani grip. So I need to be aware of this. If he does take this and he manages to pull my arm in close to my side, then he will pass my guard. So as I'm in this position, if he looks to take that grip, I'm just gonna post out from here. It's really hard to get the grip when I have a straight arm. So I'm on my arm like this. I look to post out. As I look to post out, you'll notice that I take my left hand and I make connection with my thigh in this position. When I'm here, it's really hard now for Mo to back out of the position. Like as much as he tries to pull away, he's gonna struggle in this position. As I come to this position, I'm gonna still control my leg. I look to gain control of his arm, and I'm gonna place my thigh just behind his elbow. So I'm here like this, I look to place my thigh behind the elbow. I'm still crunching in everything as tight as I can, and now I'm looking to extend the arm in this position. So, I can also do this from this position where I can just keep my arm held here. So I'm looking to now hold my hand in this position. I can bring my arm forwards and I can still attack from this position. It's actually really hard for Mo to pull his arm out from here, and I can drive through and finish. So one more time. Mo's almost past my guard. I feel like I cannot re-guard from this position. So I'm gonna post up on my arm and shoot forward. From here I grab my own thigh. Super aware of the Dagestani grip. If he goes to grab it, I post forward and create space. Now from here I'm going to bring my knee to elbow. As I bring the knee to the elbow, I gain control of his arm and attack from this position. Alright guys, to follow with the theme of bullshit techniques from bullshit positions, we're going to work through a submission. I don't think it has a name, but we'll go through it and I'll show you how it works. So, working with bottom side control. I'm in bottom side control in this position here. When I get to this position, what I'm going to look to do is I'm going to look to come onto my side. I'm looking to make connection with my thigh to arm. As I make that connection, I'm going to throw my arm over the top of the body, and I'm looking to throw my leg over the top of my arm. From here, I can lock my arms together, and I'm focusing on driving my thigh against Muhammad's shoulder. So I drive my thigh against the shoulder, squeezing everything really tight, and I can finish in this position. So I make connection thigh to shoulder. As I make that connection, I'm coming onto my side, throwing my arm over the top of his neck, and reaching underneath my own leg. As I reach under the leg, I can grab my hands together, and I'm gonna look to squeeze everything in tight in this position.
Alright guys, so as you might have noticed, we love doing some bullshit moves here at Grappling Education. And so in my couple of months here, I've developed my own bullshit move, and I like to call it the straddle. So it's a saddle variation, but because it's so disrespectful, I'm just going to call it the straddle. So if I have Keller on his back, and I'm knee cutting to try and get to side control, and I have like a solid knee cut, and he tries to frame on my body, this gives me a good opportunity to just swim his arm through across his face and come and grab this kind of grip here. And now if you're in this kind of position, you obviously would want to finish your pass. But if you just feel like pissing off your training partner or your opponent and you just want to disrespect them, you can just backstep into saddle in this position and sit back with this kind of control of his arm, and you can just finish him here with some lateral knee bar pressure, putting your hips in, disrespect.
That's bullshit techniques with Grappling Education. If you enjoyed that and want more of these techniques, please comment and let us know. And if we missed out on anything, let us know as well. Thanks for watching.